Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about my favourites for February. I actually don't have a huge amount of things to talk you through today, so we should hopefully be done relatively quickly. So first of all, my favourite books for February. If you watched my end of February wrap-up, you probably already know the answer to this one, but my favourite books that I read in the month of February were, first of all, Good Omens, which is an old favourite of mine. It is a book I've read multiple times, and absolutely every time I read it, I really enjoy it. This time around, I tried to listen to it on audiobook, but the audiobook that I downloaded from Libby was actually a BBC radio play, so it wasn't really a book as such, but it was still a really enjoyable experience, and I decided that it still counted since I have read Good Omens, like I said, multiple times. So Good Omens is about the apocalypse. Sort of. So it's written by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. If you know anything about either of those authors, you know that they write quite funny, tongue-in-cheek sorts of stories. Terry Pratchett is famous for The Discworld, which is a fantasy series set in another world called The Discworld, but it is really more of a series where he kind of makes fun of the world in which we all live. Neil Gaiman writes other more kind of paranormal books like Neverwhere, like American Gods, but he also wrote this one in concert with Terry Pratchett. It is very irreverent, it is very amusing, and it is making fun of religion, of the world, of the way that we live, but in a very lighthearted, very fun and interesting way, and I just really enjoy it. So we follow the apocalypse, as seen through a variety of different characters, two of which are an angel and a demon, who have lived on Earth for so long that they actually just really like Earth and they'd like it not to end. So they team up to try and stop the apocalypse from happening, but the apocalypse is one of those things that has been kind of written into the plan for the universe, and so it is going to go ahead whether or not they want it to. Or is it? There's a bunch of different things that happen in this book that happen as a result of humanity and human error, and yeah, it's a really fun book. If you like either of those authors separately, you will love them together, and it remains one of my favourite books of all time. The second book that I read in February that I absolutely loved was The Lies of Loch Lamora by Scott Lynch. I read quite a few really fantastic books in February, so it was very difficult for me to decide which were my favourites, but I couldn't help but find The Lies of Loch Lamora just an absolutely fantastic book. It is high fantasy, but the fantastical elements of the story aren't the main plot focus. We do have magic. It is an important part of the story, but again, it is not important that you as a reader understand the magic or understand the magic system. It is very much a mystery in and of itself in the story. We follow Locke and his merry band of misfits and thieves. We have Jean, I should say. We have Bug, and we have the Galdo twins. They are just such lovable characters. They are the very definition of noble rogues, and they are so loyal and loving to each other, and it's just such a fun book to read. I really enjoyed it. There's something very Shakespearean about it that is something that I really enjoyed, so definitely recommend this book if you are a fantasy reader. But even if you're not a fantasy reader and you're looking for a way into the genre, I think this would be a really great start, because like I said, a lot of the elements from high fantasy, such as a very in-depth magic system, very confusing and over-the-top world building that can be a turn-off for people, are elements that are very downplayed in this book. Although they're done very well and they are written really well into the story, they are not written in such a way that you have to immediately have an understanding of how those things work. So I think it's a really great way into the genre. So those are the two books that I loved for the month of February. Now I want to talk to you about the one TV show that I watched for the first time in February. I actually started watching it for the first time in February. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still watching it, and that is The American Office. So I know that I'm extremely behind on this one. It first aired in 2005. It hasn't aired for some time. takes me a while sometimes to get around to things. I'm quite a binge watcher, so I like to sit down and watch an entire series without having to wait for the next episode to come out anyway. But in this particular instance, it took me this long to get around to watching it because I was quite a fan of the original English Office. Not to make... I don't want to offend any of my American friends out there, but I do often find that when something has been created for British television or Australian television, when it is adapted into an American television for an American audience, not necessarily obviously all the time, but oftentimes there seems to be something missing. Seems to be that somehow in a lot of ways American television is not set up for irony or a real understanding of the kind of way that British and Australian humour can be very irreverent and really taking the mickey out of itself. Now, like I said, this is obviously not always the case. There are plenty of really fantastic American TV sitcoms that are actually done really well and that are in that same vein. So Community is one of them, The Good Place is another one, and as it turns out, The American Office is the other one. So I was quite nervous of watching this. This is why it took me so long to actually get around to watching it. But I did hear from, I can't remember where, but I did hear at some point reasonably recently that the American Office, for the first season, they try quite a lot to emulate the British first season, but then it starts becoming its own thing and it goes into the other, it becomes similar to those other types of TV shows that I was just talking about that are irreverent and are done really well. So, like I said, The Good Place and Community, Parks and Rec is another one. So I think that it becomes its own thing and it's not as good when it's trying to be so similar to the British, but once it becomes something else, I mean, it still follows the same idea. But another reason that I decided to finally watch it is that I really like John Krasinski. My most recent, apart from The Office, exposure to his work is in A Quiet Place, and I just think that is just a phenomenal movie. It made me finally go, you know what, I think I want to have a try of this one, and I've been really, really enjoying it. So that's a favourite from February. Also in February, I started another rewatch of Firefly, which is always an old favourite TV show of mine, and I will always absolutely love it. So Firefly is, well, it's basically a Western in space. There are lots of elements of Star Wars and Star Trek in Firefly, but it still has that very kind of Joss Whedon feel about it. And yeah, it's just really well written and really fun. So I've been really enjoying a rewatch of that one as well. So those are the two TV shows that I've really, really enjoyed and were my favourites from February. I actually don't think I watched any movies in February, so I don't have any movies to tell you about. Another thing that I want to talk to you about in the book to net community has been this sudden explosion of everyone doing reading sprints on their channels. So lots of people have been doing live streams where they host and have other booktubers come on and host with them, and they do chats and then reading sprints, and then obviously they have people who watch and join in the reading sprints from their own homes in the comments. I have been participating in those as a watcher and commenter, as a host, as a guest host on other people's channels, and as a host on my own channel. And I've been really, really enjoying doing that. They're actually really, really fun. You can have some really fun chats with people. You can have some really good dedicated reading time, which is always great fun. And it's just been a really wonderful way of meeting people, which is really, really cool. I already really appreciate the booktube community. I think for the most part, everyone is really welcoming and lovely and interesting and fun. And I really think I've made some actually genuinely good friends as part of this experience, and now I'm broadening out and getting involved with more people and meeting more people via reading sprints, which has been really, really fun, and I've really appreciated that. So I've had a chance to be part of Cece's reading journeys, reading sprints on her channel, as well as Jo from Joanne Notations, and that's been really fun. And I've been hosting my own on my own channel. If you would like to come along and be part of that as well, either as a person who participates by commenting and reading or as a host on my channel, please comment below and let me know, because I'm always happy to have people come on and participate in either way. It is really, really fun. What I'm doing at the moment is every fortnight, myself and my good friend Ellie from Earl Grey Books are the regular hosts on my reading sprints. But then I've had other people come on as well. So if you'd like to be, like I said, an extra person on my channel as a host, that is amazing, and please comment below and we can organise that. We are doing it every fortnight, so we did do last Sunday and then we'll do a fortnight again on the 21st of March on the Sunday. We're actually alternating evening and morning on the Sunday because Ellie and I are both in Australia, and so we are 11 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time, so that means that we are ahead of quite a lot of people in time-wise. Yeah, so we find that if we alternate between evening and morning, then we can catch a lot of different people who have different time requirements to ours. So the next one is the 21st of March, and I believe that we will have Helen from Helen's Book Haven joining us as well, which will be really fun. If you'd like to join us for that one, please, like I said, comment below and let me know. I haven't put up any of the dates going further than that date because we go into daylight saving. I believe quite a few people come out of it. I will put a thing on Twitter and let you know when the times will be going forward once the change happens. And also, while I'm plugging my channel and my reading sprints, on the 15th of March is my birthday, as you may already know. And I will be having reading sprints and games with some lovely booktube friends on my channel on that day, so the 15th of March. For most people, that actually will mean it's the 14th of March because, like I said, time zone. So it's the 15th of March at 8:30 AM Australian Eastern Standard Time, which is 9:30 PM GMT. I will be joined by these lovely booktubers: Chloe from Chloe Reads Books, Ellie from Earl Grey Books, Connor from Connor's Library Corner, and Helen from Helen's Book Haven. So please do come along if you'd like to join in those sprints, join in the games, comment, read along with us, and just have a generally fun, silly time. Obviously, if you don't want to read during our reading sprints, but you have some kind of embroidery or knitting or something like that, a project that you're working on, then, you know, that's some time, dedicated time that you can do that for in as well, or writing, or really anything that you have going on that you want some dedicated time towards. Those reading sprints would be some good time to put aside for that as well. So anyway, that is on my birthday, the 15th of March. But I think I've pretty much talked about all the things that I want to talk about as my favourites and plugged my channel quite a bit. So yeah, if you have any thoughts on any things that I've talked about, any opinions that you'd like to share with me, please do comment below and let me know. If you would like to let me know that you were here but you don't wish to leave a specific comment, then feel free to leave me an emoji to let me know that you were here. That would be fantastic. All of my social media details are in the description below, so please feel free to go and find me over there as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.